Hey guys, Mynock here with mynocksden.com, and today I'm going to show you a method that I use for getting clean bubble-free castings from two-part molds without using any specialized equipment. Air trapped inside your casting medium can severely impact the quality of your casts. No matter how carefully you pour and mix your resin, air will always be present inside the liquid. As the mold cavity fills, this air will form bubbles which will push outward and come to rest against the mold cavity wall. The presence of these air bubbles will result in the surface of your cast being riddled with pinholes like this. As the liquid comes in and starts filling up the mold cavity from the top, any right angles or undercuts like this ledge right here, and especially this little guy, will have a tendency to trap air, and this will result in some pretty ugly surface damage. Now, all these problems can be avoided if you cast your stuff inside a pressure pot using properly vacuumed silicone molds. But since I don't have a pressure pot and all my molds were made without vacuuming, I have to use alternate means to combat the air bubble problem. So I'm going to show you what I do to get bubble-free casts using nothing but my hands and some disposable gloves. So here we go. I'm working with Smooth Cast 65D. I'm going to add a little So Strong black pigment to part B. This is going to cause the resin to come out gray instead of white. I personally hate the look of white resin in wearable props, so I pigment everything with this stuff. Anyways, so I mix this together, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour half of the resin into one half of the mold, and I'm going to pour the other half of the resin into the other half of the mold. Next, this is the part that's very important. This is the part that gets rid of the bubbles. Is with your gloved hand, start going and pushing against all of these surfaces inside the mold. Okay, what this does is this is driving the bubbles out, dislodging them from the surface of the mold and bringing them to the top. So you want to coat all the surfaces like this. And by doing so, you're driving out any bubbles that may be sticking to the surface of the mold. Okay. Now, these little areas right here, you can see that there's a little bit of a spill right there, and there, and there, and there. That's not a big deal. Once the resin cures, it'll be easy to just peel that off. So now we're going to let this sit for about 6 minutes or so, and we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, so now that this resin is about 90% cured, I'm going to peel off some of the edges here. We want to make sure that when these two halves combine, which is going to be the next step, there is proper alignment. So if there is any detailing that runs, that starts on one side of one mold and then comes up, transitions to the other mold, we want to make sure that that lines up correctly. So what I'm going to do now is bring these two halves together like so. I'm going to peel this off here as well, and then I'm going to use some elastic bands to hold it all together. I'm going to use a few of them here to make sure that the seal is tight so that nothing leaks out as we do this, as we pour. Okay, so now we have a mold that's ready to be poured into. So once again, I'm going to mix up some 65D, throw a few more drops of the So Strong pigment. Alright, so now that that's mixed, we're going to pour it into this mold. So now we're going to let this sit for about 10 minutes and see what happens. Beautiful. No bubbles, no pinholes, So there you go, a perfectly clean, bubble-free, pinhole-free casting that requires no additional work other than cleaning up your flashing, which is pretty standard on all two-part casts. So if you are into casting, I strongly recommend this method for getting bubble-free casts. If you don't, especially if you don't have a vacuum chamber. So there you have it. Thanks for watching, guys, and check back later for more videos.